Welcome to Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, the wildest mixed tag team in podcasting where the kayfabe drops and the chaos takes over. Let's ring the damn bell.
Headlock tight, heels on the prowl, dropping elbows, hearing growl, feel the foul. No script here, just real, no bluff. Kayfabe crack, now the dirt gets rough. Headlocks, heels, havoc in the zone. Stepping in the ring, chaos at your home. No filters, no mask, just raw bare tone. Wrestling unscripted, we on the throne. Title bells, mic checks, crowd going crazy. Drop truth bombs, leaving lines feeling hazy. Beyond the kayfabe, past the charade, where legends are born and stories get made. Headlocks poppin', who's hitting the mat? Welcome to the havoc where the real talk's at. Tune in, step through, leave the fake at the door. Headlocks, heels, havoc, now hear the roar.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am 1/3 of the greatest mixed tag team in podcasting, the legend J Mac. I'm so great they gave me the cape. That's right. Now, with me as always is everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Slam.
What's up?
And of course, the first lady of wrestling podcast, the Vipress, not the Vixen.
Hi, everyone.
And with us today on the recap show, we have Tucker Michaels. It's he's there. You go. You see it all right there. When you see it, he's giving off the Gorilla Monsoon vibes with the blue tinted glasses. You know, he's shouting out peace and love and all that good stuff. Now, everybody ready for Christmas?
I'm ready for it to be over.
That's right. Exactly it. This year's been
really hard this year.
It's just crazy, man. Like, everything is just like, I was going through the store the other day, and you know, I remember when a G.I. Joe was like $3. I looked at a wrestling figure because I was like, man, you know, I want to start looking because we were talking about doing some stop motion stuff and everything with some figures. I was like, all right, well, while I'm over here in the toy section, which I don't visit over here too much anymore, I'm going to check out, you know, how much a few wrestling figures cost and everything. Man, they wanted a Lex Luger NWO for like $30 damn. I was like, I wouldn't have paid $12 for a Lex Luger NWO. You know what I'm saying? He was great. He wasn't that great to me, you know, for those $30 damn.
Was it like a collector's item or something like that? I mean, because that's only
man, they put collector on everything now. You don't know if it's a collector or not.
True.
I mean, it's more about rarity than it is collector. You know what I'm saying? If it says collector, it's probably not. Like when they put like one of 2,000, then yeah, that's what you want to look for. But I was like, God, man, toys just are. You know, we've talked about how expensive wrestling's got and everything. And man, like even toys, like you got to mow like 5 lawns just to friggin' get a damn wrestling figure nowadays. Makes zero sense. Like I don't get it.
Well, you could probably buy the Kevin Nash version for like $10, but that's because he ain't trying to make up for it, you know, with 80 Comic-Con appearances every year like Lex Luger.
Man, I'm telling you right now, Kevin Nash is like, fuck it, I ain't leaving my house unless the money's right.
Right.
Wasn't
that always Kevin Nash, though, for real?
Huh?
I said, wasn't that always Kevin Nash, though, for real?
Well, I mean, but that, you know, for all the flack that he got and everything, you know, not to get off on any tangents or anything, because, you know, we got a lot to cover on the recap, because there's been a lot of stuff going on this week. But, you know, for all the flack he's gotten, he was one of the ones that changed the business and the money aspect of the business for everybody nowadays. He's the reason Roman Reigns is making $15 million a year. You know what I'm saying? And it's guaranteed. And Roman gets to wrestle 4 times a year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's, you know, for all the flack that it got, him, Scott Hall, and a lot of people, you know, they kicked that door down and everything, which, I mean, there were they didn't bring in guaranteed contracts like everybody thinks.
Right.
Because Crockett Promotions gave you a guaranteed contract. You know, like I think I remember Jim Cornette saying that like Beautiful Bobby and Sweet Stan Lane were both guaranteed like $145,000 all year, but that was it. You ain't getting nothing else unless you sold some merchandise, and then most of the time, the merchandise you sold had to be your merchandise. You know what I'm saying? Because the promotions weren't given very much on royalties for merchandise and stuff like that back then. You didn't get no spreadsheets and everything. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, this is what we're going to give you. But anything else you make, that's on you and how you do it. But you're not allowed to wrestle for nobody else. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he did change a lot of the business. He got a lot of flack for it. But I for all the flack he did do, you know, I gotta give it to him. He did a lot of good.
I'll put it like this. I'd be like any of those wrestlers. Like, if you're going to pay me a huge amount of money and I only got to show up a couple times and I don't have to wrestle that much and still get my guaranteed money, we're all going to take that money. Like, nobody's going to say no to that. That's the perfect work setting. Like, if you're a wrestler, like, nobody's going to be like, you know what, I'd rather work more, you know, put my body on the line a whole lot more, or, you know, make less and shit. Come on now. We're all going to take that money deal.
Of course. I mean, like we've said it many times on here. You take the opportunities when you get them. They may not all be the right opportunities, you know, or whatever, but when the money's right, the money's right. That's why Kevin Nash ain't leaving that house unless the money's right. Yeah. Well, I guess the first big thing I've got from mine is Joe Hendry is officially on the main roster and debuted on SmackDown, I believe it was last night, but him and Trick Williams both have been called up to the main roster. And I was like, Trick Williams.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay.
Well, Trick Williams has been missing since he lost, so I've been expecting Trick Williams to, and that was like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
so I've been expecting him to show up somewhere sometime soon.
Which surprises me, you know, because everybody there was a few people who was talking about Trick Williams being the mask guy and everything. I believe you brought it up as a possibility.
I did. It was an idea just because of where, like, the build was exactly the same.
The athleticism was what was throwing me off. The jump, he got up at Cage quick, and I know that Cage is a little bit, you know, more
Trick
open.
Williams is
right, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, man, there may be something to her theory, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it fit perfectly.
I knew it wasn't him because of the hair. Trick Williams got way too much hair.
That's where me and you had that conversation.
Yeah, like, you're not going to cover up all that hair with a little bitty hoodie and shit. Come on now, man. This nigga got dreads and shit all over the place. Yeah.
And that's just like the beard, too, and everything, you know, hiding a beard up underneath that mask and everything. It's not an easy task to do. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy to pull that beard together, you know, because it pulls. You know what I'm saying? You're not able to move your mouth and stuff. If you do, it all comes, you know. Yeah, so I was kind of a little deflated that the masked person was Austin Theory. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I'm glad they're finally going to give him a push to see what he can do. But I think the luster kind of ran out whenever he was doing what he was doing before with, you know, the A-Town Down Under and stuff and everything.
What did you want it to be?
Yeah.
The mask guy?
Yeah.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I don't know.
Don't say it.
I really don't know.
I would have been cool with Joe Hendry being the mask guy and just wrapping the two in
one. That I could have lived with.
Nah, that never was going to happen. Come on now.
No,
I wanted it to be Randy Orton, but I found out he was in Saudi, so, you know.
Nah, that's too obvious, too.
Well, but they were going for the obvious. You know, they were trying to make you think it was AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Came out and did the curb stomp, and everyone knew, obviously, it wasn't AJ
Not
Styles.
AJ,
Why would you
Seth Rollins. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Seth Rollins. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. Like I said, you know, they kept pushing the whole, you know, oh, we saw Seth, and Seth has pulled this over before, so there's a
Yeah.
good chance he could have done it again. But I like knew that it was too obvious on that, but I didn't
Yeah.
have, like I said, I had no idea who it would be.
If
Well,
Seth
let me
Rollins
ask
doesn't
y'all
come back
this.
in a mask and do a curb stomp, everyone immediately goes, "Oh, that's Seth Rollins."
Yeah.
So obviously it wasn't him. I was kind of low
Had
key
to
hoping
throw
for Joe
people off.
Hendry just because of the whole his it's such a big part of his gimmick is his unveiling.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's a baby face and stuff. Like I said, like the guy doing all the bad stuff. He's a
Yeah.
heel, and that would just be too much of a twist. Yeah.
What was
Well,
your
how do you
question?
all feel about Austin Theory's new look? Now I've seen a lot of people say a bunch of crap about it, but if you really, really think about it, if he's disgruntled, like if his character is disgruntled, his demeanor and the way that he looks makes so much sense.
I think
Like
honestly, and
cutting his
truthfully,
hair.
I'll
I
let
think
everybody else weigh in first on that because I've got my thoughts. But
I think what they're going to try to do with Austin Theory, from what I've seen of it, is they're going to try to push him off as a new Stone Cold, like pissed off, disgruntled. Yeah, I'm not saying he's necessarily going to go out there and flip fingers like Stone Cold drinking beer. I'm not saying he's going to mirror the character,
Yeah.
but the story.
the
You
spirit,
know what I'm saying? And they're going to try to make him that kind of hero, anti-hero type person, if that makes sense. That's where I think it's going to go. That's just my prediction. What about you, Uncle Slam?
See, I don't know enough about him. You know what I'm saying? Like I was going to actually like look up some research about him because I don't know shit about him. Like I really don't know. I mean, they showed him and they're like, "Oh, it's Austin Theory," and I'm like, "Who?" So it's kind of really hard to.
He was the Vince McMahon pick. He was
Yeah.
Vince McMahon's boy, and like he was the youngest. What was it? United States champion holder.
Something like that.
And
Vince
then
was
he was
getting
the
ready to push him to
youngest
the moon.
Money in the Bank holder.
Uh-huh.
And this was him being like all buff, clean cut type, like bro with a lot of money type dude. But then now he's cut all of his hair off. He's, got bags under his eyes.
Oh, okay.
He's got like 5
He
o'clock
looks like
shadow instead of
more grungy instead of preppy. I guess is the best way to put it. Like he was
right.
more
Yeah.
like,
Okay. There you go.
He went away. He stopped the clean cut look,
yeah.
the groomed up.
I still don't know. Like I said, it's hard for me to have an opinion because I just don't know enough about the kid to really even say anything
Right.
about him. So I'm just gonna have to like leave that to y'all right now, and then I might form an opinion because I hate to say something when I don't really know anything about him.
Tucker?
I'm more with Uncle Slam in that I don't know a lot about him, but I feel like I have been such a student and studying how the minds of people like Triple H and Shawn Michaels and the people in charge think about storylines. And I think the whole thing was an audible call. I think they called an audible. I think that they heard the pushback and that enough people wanted Austin Theory to be there for the push for Cena's last match that they're like, okay, well, let's take this and run with it. And like you said, give him a grungy look, give him like this anti-establishment, Stone Cold type vibe, and let's give him the push because the pissed off, because that's what the fans want. And so that way they can still cater to the fans, but not because I didn't really know much about Austin Theory either until I started seeing social media blow up with people wanting him to be seen his last match and then people being super pissed off that he wasn't his last match. Because I kind of thought that would be Joe Hendry. I thought everybody would be pissed off that Joe Hendry wasn't seen his last match, but then it wasn't Theory. And so I think that they basically like made a last minute call to start this new storyline and to put him in this place and say, okay, we've done this before. We know it works. Let's try it again. Let's change up his character. Let's going back to the Stone Cold thing. Let's take him from the ringmaster, the clean cut, to Stone Cold, and now we know what to do with a character like that, so let's do that.
And that's what I'm worried about with him is, I don't want them to push something on him that he's not going to be able to,
Actually,
carry through with.
That's a
I mean,
hard shift to make.
it is, because and especially when if it's not his real personality. You know what I'm saying? You got to let a little bit of, like we were talking with Bobby earlier, a little bit of those promos and all that stuff is you. You know what I'm saying? It's what you are. It's what you felt in your heart. What you, like we were talking about earlier. When you're riding on the road and everything, and you're constantly in Iron Sheik mode. As opposed to today's wrestling, back then you were always in Iron Sheik mode, so you were constantly thinking of promos of the Iron Sheik and everything, and you were using stuff that was happening on the road in your real life, and just more emotion came out in the promos. Like me and Vipers were talking about, I need more promos like the CM Punk promo. Doesn't have to be CM Punk. I just need that style of promo that feels like, ooh, is this really personal, or is it, it's doing a good job with, a great promo, and they're using.
I'm even cool with the Cena type, where like Cena got up on the top rope and sat down and paid homage to the pipe bomb.
Right.
Like I'm cool with that, because obviously the curtain's been pulled up. We all know. And so, yes, that's the vibe and the feel I'm looking for. And I'll even take Cena's version over the white bread stuff that they've been dishing out.
Right. I think it's a wait and see thing with Theory. I think it can be good, but I think we're going to have to just wait and see what it's going to turn out. But I mean, I wish them the best because they need more. It's not that they need more stars; they just need more variety. What I'm saying?
To use them instead of using the same people all over and over and over again in the same matches week after week after week.
It's all up here and nothing here and down here and down here, which is what I'm going to touch on right here because it kind of segues into it. The Street Profits. There are no creative plans, and they have been off WWE television for 2 months. Why?
Damn.
This is like the best tag team in the WWE. You know what I mean? And we're not using them. We're not utilizing them.
Are they about to release them? Is this one of those things where they, what's it called? Where you got a no work clause or whatever, we're going to keep paying you not to work pretty much and you can't go anyplace else.
Have you seen the big report that came out that can segue into this, because it sucks for the Street Profits. I personally think that they should be using them more, but that's a perfect segue into this. WWE will not be hiring free hands to trim payroll. We are told that of late, talent from both TNA and AEW who have called WWE have been told that they aren't looking at hiring any new people. The idea is they have so many in developmental, many of whom are ready for, and that they don't need new people. And the spokesperson from WWE told us they plan to trim/reduce their payroll. Now, if that means releasing or not, renewing talent, we don't know. What do y'all think about that?
So after I heard this, because I did hear this, I heard one right after, like a couple hours after that WWE did sign 2 new people from New Japan Pro Wrestling. After that was released.
That may be an international market move. I think that's what WWE is doing. Like, in the old days, I got to thinking about this a little bit. In the old days, you had Bruno Sammartino, to represent the Italians. It's been said on many documentaries. You had Ivan Putski to, represent the Polish population. You had, Bob Backlund, for the white guys. You had SD Jones, all these world champions to represent their ethnic background. I think that's what WWE is doing now, and just doing it on a worldwide scale, not just a territorial version. You know what I'm saying? They're actually signing other talent from other promotions around the world, like New Japan, and things like that, to come and represent their culture in WWE. The same way that Vince Sr. kind of did that in the 70s and 80s. You know what I mean? I think they're just because they're trying to get to a bigger audience is what I'm getting at.
I thought the question was talking about like basically trimming fat and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like them,
Well, you're right, but she said something about. But she was talking about how they just signed 2 people from what was it, New Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I think that's why that signing was kind of like, that's okay, because we're going to be going into that market more. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so we're going
to say that they're not signing anybody else and then sign some new people.
Well, but was that deal already in the works?
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about it until an hour at least after I heard about them stopping.
And it's really about timing of when they started talking to these people too and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We don't know all the details and everything, which I don't know. Like I said, it was Wrestling Observer that reported this, so you got to take Dave Meltzer with a grain of salt. But
go ahead.
I was going to say he has hit the nail on the head a few times.
I don't know. Like I said, I kind of see it as like anything, kind of like a business move. Basically when TKO took over, they're going to look at their assets, which everybody is an asset, and they're going to see what they can make the most money out of. They're going to look where they can, they might be losing money. I think some of it probably more of a business thing. Unfortunately, when corporate comes in, people come in and try to streamline. They try to, cut waste, stuff like that. So that might be what it is. And they've been screaming, for the longest that, supposedly, they're operating at a loss, like what was it supposed to be like $3 billion or some, like they're, like they're in debt basically or whatever. Like, I don't know the exact number and stuff. So maybe that's why, because that seems like what a business would do, or a corporation, whenever they take over a business, they come in and try to get rid of low-paying assets, or, try to trim the fat pretty much, which might be get rid of certain people or not renewing contracts. And it is kind of true that they do have a lot of developmental, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's basically what like NXT is or whatever, that's the whole reason why they got that. But you never know, I'm pretty sure there is some personal shit too. Like I said, like we've always said with like LA Knight situation and some of the other wrestlers and shit, they obviously pissed people off. So they either got let go or they're kind of being buried.
Here would be my question. And I'm basing this off an interview I saw with Triple H where he was talking about how they're going new and exciting routes to find talent. Literally, like looking at people that got cut from NFL, looking at people that got cut from NBA, looking at college, athletes, things like that. Do you think it's because obviously I don't question Triple H much on how much he knows the business, but that doesn't mean he's a businessman. So do you think it's possible? And in my mind, it's that these aggressive recruitment efforts have essentially saturated the market. And now it's almost like they've made a bunch of promises to people. They've written them check with their mouth that their ass can't cash, and they don't know what to fucking do with them. And so they've literally saturated their own market with talent and are now saying, oh, crap. Like, and I'm sure they did that to find the diamonds in the rough, to find those talents that you wouldn't ever think about. And that's fine. But I don't think they were prepared for the fallout from that level of aggressive recruitment.
Do you know what I think?
Is that basically the market is just saturated.
You know what I think that stems from?
What's that?
For the fact that WWE put WCW out of business. They put ECW out of business, and for the longest time, they were the only product out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So they
And now
were
they're finally suffering the consequences 20 years later.
everybody wanted to come to the WWE.
Yep.
So all the big names, when they were able to, came to the WWE. And like you said, now it's just oversaturated.
Yeah. And now you arguably, like, I don't know if this is just from my view, but you arguably at this point in time have the biggest WWE universe in all of its history. There are more fans of the WWE right now than ever before. So you put out young talent who really gets on with millions of people, but then there's also maybe millions of people who want to get behind another talent, and they're just not quite big enough to have that many. You know, it might be time for WWE to start branching out into its own promotions. That they never even considered that.
Probably not.
And that's what I'm saying. But they already have, really. Because they got AAA, they got NXT,
right.
You know, SmackDown and Raw are not the same thing.
Right.
You know, they've basically got 4 different big time shows, and that's not including the Evolve show, the LFG show, which I mean, those are just training shows, you know, like Tough Enough.
But at the TNA, you might as well say WWE would either really own them,
might as well,
or they have a big chunk as far as stake in them or some shit.
So I mean, that's like 5 or 6, you know, right there. That your way, even with that, they're so oversaturated that it's hurting the fact that they've got all this great young talent in, but developmental in. We were kind of talking about different sports earlier with Bobby Blade, but developmental in like football and stuff is not the same as developmental in wrestling, because the ones who make it in wrestling have 15, 20-year careers.
Right.
You know, the ones who make it in football, a running back's got about 5 good years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then he's going to probably jump around from team to team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if a wrestler becomes great enough, you know, he can spend his entire career in WWE. John Cena, you know, people like that, you know.
Undertaker.
Right.
Sting.
So it's like, you know, it's developmental, but they've even oversaturated themselves. Instead of constantly having people coming into the performance center and training, there should be like a complete off season or a year, you know, to where we're not going to bring any new people in. As far as we're going to sift through what we've got and what we're going to keep, what we're not going to keep. We're going to let the ones we're not going to keep go. We're going to help them out as much as we can while they're here. You know what I'm saying? Let them go somewhere else, get some more training, work the indie scene, you know, whatever. And then with the newer guys, you can slowly take in a year or two, let some of that filter out too. Because like we said, everything is on top and they're not utilizing the tag teams, the intercontinental and stuff the way that they really should be. The only real middleweight championship that gets, you know, real recognition is the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
Like the U.S. is, I feel like the U.S. has almost been cast aside a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
the same prestige,
right? And I mean, I don't know. I just think it's like, I think they need to just sit down, figure out a game plan of let's use what we've got, stop bringing so much in, and maybe that's what this hiring freeze is. You know, to where they're just going to stop, you know, trying to do all this stuff that's constantly going on and, you know, cut back a little bit, you know, shut down the performance center for a year or two and let's just work with the 300 people we do have. You know,
shut down no performance center and shit.
Well, no, not shut it down, but just don't bring new people in. Let's, you know, we'll use the performance center to take these 300 people we got and start really sifting through and seeing what we really have, as opposed to, okay, this guy can do the basics. Let's push him on up to the next thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. And WWE's loss is going to be somebody else's gain and shit.
Yes.
So whenever you don't have the performance center open or you're not taking people, man, some talent's going to show up. Somebody's going to come, and if they're not going to get a shot in WWE, like I said, AEW, TNA is going to take these people. Like, I mean, there's too many organizations out there now that will take a star and develop it. And I know WWE is the top place in talent right now, but that don't mean they're the only one. And all it takes is the right person to come along and, another Stone Cold, maybe another Rock or Hogan or something. And, you can, kind of shift the tide, like we've seen it happen with the NWO and WCW.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can really afford to do something like that and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I think some of that is also like the survival of the fittest, you know what I'm saying? Like the best are going to find their way to the top. Like if you got like a room full of really good wrestlers and you can only pick like 2 and there's 10 in there, if you put them all in there, eventually the 2 best are going to shine to the top and shit. So maybe that's the kind of way it's supposed to be. I don't know. Like I said, like I don't really know a ton about when it comes to that part of wrestling, but I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I
Right.
think that's probably their biggest fear. And
Is
that's
losing
why
talent.
they've been scooping up the new talent left and right and don't know what to do with them, is because they don't want another NWO popping up in AWA
Yeah.
or AEW or TNA. And I think that, like even going back to, like let's assume that, WWE bought AEW tomorrow, TNA, we're in uncharted territory. So let's assume that WWE decides to roll with it. They buy TNA, they buy AEW. That way they can have more popular talent, but they still have created this empire where everyone knows that championship that Cody Rhodes now has, that's the be all end all.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have hardcore TNA fans standing behind the TNA World Championship, knowing good and well that they're owned by WWE, wanting that champion to be pushed up into WWE for their head title.
You need
Because
the
that's the be all
prestige
end
of
all.
another company's title.
The prestige, yes, they're going, and they've done that to themselves, but they're also still scared that somebody somewhere is going to come up. They're going to miss out on that talent. They're going to sign with AEW. They're going to sign with TNA, and then boom, they're going to have, what was it? With Roddy Piper, we had Mr. T. We now have Logan Paul, a famous person who's an active wrestler. We had Jelly Roll have a full-blown match. We had Snoop Dogg dropping the people's elbow several years back on Shane McMahon.
Are you talking about the celebrities getting
The
into
celebrities,
wrestling?
yeah. The popularity and the notoriety of WWE has never been higher, and I don't think they know what to do with it. But I think they're scared of losing out on it, and so we keep using the term saturated their own market. I think that's what they've done. I think they're scared to death of a new Rock or a new Stone Cold ending up at AEW, ending up at TNA. So they're trying to monopolize the market, but there's a lot of, I would argue that the greatest wrestler of today, right now, will never be discovered.
Because there's too much talent.
Because there's too much talent and they got looked over. The same way the greatest guitar player who's ever lived is probably living on the streets of Nashville homeless. Because there's too many people out there looking for a bite of that carrot.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. I don't know.
And the thing is, we would have never known that Stone Cold would have been one of the greatest of all times if Triple H hadn't fucked up and Stone Cold got his push at King of the Ring and cut the Austin 316 promo. Would have never.
Well, it's just all kinds of things have to align right
Exactly.
to get yourself up there to that level of superstardom in wrestling.
Right place, right time.
Yep. Time, place, manner.
Yeah.
Before we go on to the next story, I wanted to pause real quick because I've seen this. I don't know if you all did. RVD's wife was hospitalized and will be out under observation for 2 more weeks. Want to send out well wishes to her. She's pregnant with twins.
Oh.
And everybody knows that, twins can come early. Mine came 3 months early. Very scary situation, so just keep them in thoughts and prayers and everything because, that can be.
Well, Then
It
with
could,
the
it could
win
be
show, they can come 3 months early, and then they could not invite their favorite cousin to their fucking wedding. But we won't talk about that.
Whoa.
Hey, like I said, you got to take it up with him, man. I just showed up. Look, Emily Rose has made an appearance on Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc. So,
just kind of here at this point. You guys got to deal with me.
Okay. Well, we won't be talking about the country gentlemen or anything unless you bring them up. So, you know. So, next story I got is Sting's son, Steve Borden, is signing with AEW.
Oh, I didn't hear this. That's awesome. I love it.
Man, look at that guy. He looks exactly like Sting.
He's built just like him, like his
Oh,
body.
yeah.
His face looks just like him. If he had that spiked hairdo and the face paint, I don't know that you wouldn't be able to tell them apart too much.
That is true.
I think it's cool though. I hope he doesn't try to do anything like living off that gimmick. I really hope he does.
Like, I think he's smart enough to know that, you know, like you can't do that nowadays and shit. Like,
I hope he's smart enough to know that.
If he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it like Cody did it with the American Nightmare.
Yeah.
Like maybe his gimmick will be Stung, and he'll paint his ass.
Oh shit! You ain't right.
That's horrible.
You're
Alrighty.
still figuring that out?
So, no, I've known this for years, especially when this kid was 3 years old walking around calling me Satan because he couldn't say J's.
That happened.
Satan, Satan, come here. I'm like, what? No, don't call me that. But let's see. All right,
So he's
this
signed with
story is
AEW, you said?
pretty big. Yes, Sting's son is
Wish him
signing
all
with
the best. I hope he
AEW.
does really well.
Yes, sir. Sports Illustrated has officially named AEW the 2025 Promotion of the Year over WWE. The shocking and controversial decision immediately sparked chaos and debates across social media as Sports Illustrated crowned AEW the Promotion of the Year over the longtime juggernaut WWE. Whether fans agree with the decision or not, it's a massive statement from one of the most respected mainstream sports publications in the world. Love it or hate it, AEW just took home one of the biggest industry's honors of the year. Now, in saying that, I've got another thing to put up here. I got to find it. It's terrible. I had these in order and I don't know what happened.
Did they get reasons why?
Well, I think I've got a list here somewhere. That's not it. That's not it.
I was just curious of the category or like how they judge them.
That's one.
Not to say that they're wrong and stuff, you know, they could be right and shit. Because, like you said, you know, we've been bitching about WWE for a while.
That's not it. I don't think that'd be it. Anyways, I had the list. There it is, right there. Okay, sorry about that. So, did you hear what I was? AEW got named Promotion of the Year over WWE by Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
So Sports Illustrated has named their 2025 Pro Wrestling Award winners. Male Wrestler of the Year, Hangman Adam Page. Female Wrestler of the Year, Mercedes Moné, or whatever you say. Tag Team of the Year, FTR. Heel Turn of the Year, Naomi. Match of the Year, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair in a triple threat match for the Women's World title at WrestleMania 41. Breakout Wrestler of the Year was Kyle Fletcher. Best in the ring was Will Ospreay. I have to agree with that. If you haven't watched Will Ospreay, I challenge you to go watch Will Ospreay. He is awesome. Storyline of the Year, Hangman Page's Redemption, rivalry of the Moxley versus Hangman Page. Comeback of the Year, best in the mic, Timeless Tony Storm. I can agree with that. She's pretty good on the mic. Pay-per-view of the year, Double or Nothing, Function of the Year, all of the rest.
They cleaned up.
They did.
Damn.
So my is it's
Can anyone else
I
hear it?
could. Nope. I couldn't hear anything you just said. All I heard was
You're breaking up a lot, Legend.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
You sound like R2D2 fucking our surround sound.
You still electric.
Yeah.
I think we can edit out that last line, right?
We can barely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you still sound like auto tunes.
And your face is frozen.
Is it
Just
frozen?
sitting still.
Okay, like now I can see his face moving.
Nope, it's
Well,
gone for me.
it was.
He left. He's gonna come back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
Well, hopefully that refreshes it. Yeah, because it was getting bad for a while. It was like,
Yeah, like he'd have like a few bad moments, but man, AEW cleaning up. That's crazy.
Yeah, like that says a lot.
I
like
don't
I said.
agree with a lot of it, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, some of the matches I don't
remember-
agree with.
And like, you know, Vipers, I don't know if you were really like on the scene. I don't know how long you've been a fan, but Josh, I know that you were watching it, you know, back in the day, whenever like, you know, back in like 2005, when there's almost like a hipster community coming out of like fans who are like, you know, oh, you watch WWE, no, TNA was where it's at.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's never really went away, but now there's more options with TNA and AEW, and that almost seems like it's what's going on. Can't hear
Well,
you,
there's a
J-Mac.
big divide.
Did y'all hear me?
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
You're from.
Back.
There you go. We're trying to keep the conversation rolling.
Oh, you're fine, dude. I don't know what happened here. Something. We had technical difficulties. We're still live. But what I was going to say is that mean AEW may be a hit threat?
Sorry,
Thank
Stephen
you.
We didn't
Hawkins.
get that
still
last
didn't get
part.
it.
With a, can y'all hear me okay?
That's better.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like you come and you go. Like, you know what I'm saying? As far as being clear, it's like
Can
if
you hear me
clear for a
now?
little bit. Yeah,
Right.
that type of shit.
It's an old Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? Good.
Yeah.
Welcome
is-
to the Heels Lock, Headlocked and Headache. We're
All
having
right.
a great show tonight.
Do you all think that AEW is a legit threat now?
No. I don't think that
No,
exists.
because they just shut down an entire show. Why would you do that if they were a threat, or if they were even remotely going to become a threat?
Not yet. They got a couple more years before they get to that status. Like I said, you know, when they
They
start
need to
having
fix their storylines.
fix the storylines, maybe up the production, you know, a little bit. But
Don't get caught having people come down from the rafters to the bottom seats to make the video look fuller.
they need probably a better TV deal. Like they need better exposure and shit. You know, you can't be popping up just.
I agree. I don't think TBS is great. They need to be on a streaming app. They need like a
They're on
Paramount.
Max.
I thought they were
Yeah,
going to Paramount or something
They're
like
on
that.
Max.
Yeah, but nobody. Their ratings. I mean, they're good on Max, but their most of their exposure is from their live stuff is on TBS or TNT. One of the two. Maybe both. I don't know. I haven't had TBS TNT in years, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, they're after shows and stuff, and you can get their pay-per-views through Max and everything, but it's like, I think they need a weekly show deal like WWE has on Netflix.
I
You
feel
know
like
what
they're
I'm
like an ECW type thing. Like, you know, like you have to go look for them and shit. Like it's not easy
Yes.
to find and shit, you know?
Like TNA.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to see, and I could be wrong, and I low key kind of hope I'm wrong, but I don't think we're ever going to see a legitimate threat to WWE. Now, I think we will see legitimate alternatives and options that will do great, and maybe just maybe can become somewhat as big, because there was a time when TNA, you know, there was a time whenever I thought the Monday Night Wars was coming back with TNA.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's ever going to be a threat to WWE. But it's kind of like y'all are old enough to remember this. Like whenever Fox Network first came out, and they started releasing sitcoms and stuff. Like nobody really wanted to be on those shows, but now Fox is right up there with NBC, CBS, all the other ones where all the other big shows are. So I don't think that they're ever going to become a threat. I think that they have the ability to become just as big and equally coexist. But with the amount of content that's out there with streaming and YouTube and all that stuff, I don't think WWE is ever going to have a threat unless they just really, really turn the tables and start picking up their own stuff. But I think that they are already a viable option or alternative to WWE.
The only thing that's going to stop WWE is WWE imploding on itself.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. See, that's what I was going to say. Like their only weakness is going to come with probably like from within. Like I said, because like there's nobody big enough, like he said, that can take them down. There'll be companies that might take a little market share. They might take a little more television time, but nobody's going to be as big as they are right now. But if they start, like going that bullshit where they have, lazy story writing, they have shitty pay-per-views, they keep taxing the shit out of people. That's the shit that's going to drive people away. That's the things that are going to kill them.
Yeah. Well, and I think they're making moves. I remember when I first started watching wrestling, you had two opportunities to watch Raw. You could watch it live on Monday night, or you could watch a condensed version at like 1 a.m. on Saturday. That's not the case anymore. You can stream everything. And so if AEW gets in on the streaming, then the fans who love WWE can stream it live on Monday night, or they miss it and stream it and watch it on replay on Tuesday. And then the same fans can go over to AEW. I think we're just in a market that is completely unknown. We're just in unknown seas right now. And I think there's a lot of growth opportunity for all those companies.
It's kind of like the early days of TV and radio. They didn't know what to do with it at first.
Exactly.
Streaming, they're just now learning what to really do with streaming, what they can't do.
Yeah, because like you look at influencers, there's not a lot of competitions amongst influencers. Somebody who likes this podcast can like this podcast, but we don't have to compete with somebody else. Or one influencer doesn't have to necessarily compete with another. You just have to put the content out there, and people will consume it if they want to consume it.
Yep. The production, you're almost cutting out the production team by doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And then, and it helps other networks too, because like I said, when you're putting content out, you can sell your own production, which didn't cost them anything.
Right.
And they get some of the residuals the same as you do, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, on a bigger scale. And
this isn't the day of WWE and WCW literally trying to fuck each other over, and corrupt each other's own show. This isn't Eric Bischoff announcing that Mick Foley is winning the WWE Championship.
Right.
Today, you can see, I didn't watch Saturday Night Main Event live. I already knew the outcome of the match. I still wanted to watch the match.
Right.
So on Sunday, I went in, I tuned in, and I watched the entire event. Because I wanted to see it. And I feel like that's how most fans are going to operate nowadays. They don't even care to know how it's going to end. They hear about it, and they're like, oh, now I really want to see that.
It's almost like somebody ruining a movie for you that you really want to see, but you're still going to watch that movie.
Yeah, well, and that's today's world. Like, how many people get every ending spoiled for them? That's why we literally have a whole cultural phenomenon called spoiler alerts.
Right.
Like, I think they're still trying. I think there's certain people in the game still trying to act like it's 1995, 1996, 1997, 98, 99, whatever. And it's not. It's 2025. Like, you can have competition that isn't a threat, and everybody gets a slice of the pie.
100%. And I think that's why I was reading a story about Stone Cold. John Cena was talking about a story when Stone Cold walked in and looked at him, and he said, yeah, I remember a time when he said something to the effect of he was just busting his balls as a rookie and a young guy and everything.
Right.
When Cena first took off and everything as the, hustle, loyalty, respect stuff and everything. But he told him, he said, yeah, I remember whenever I was here as the top guy, we didn't pull these black curtains out for any reason.
Right.
That was just the difference in the business back then. It was, you almost had to go live to really get, everything, because, with TV, some people had cable, some people didn't have cable. So some people had to catch the stories on Superstars or, something else on Saturday morning. They didn't get to watch Monday Night Raw because it wasn't, unless you had cable, you didn't have USA Network, So it was, or a satellite or something like that. So, it was a different ball game. And now everybody's got everything because you have to be able to watch wrestling, WWE.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I'd kind of like to hear Viper's opinion on that because, and like, I know this is kind of low hanging fruit here, but to ask, but like, you're the only one here that's an actual mother, and so like, I feel like the female wrestling fans have increased so much that like that's an entire new huge part, if not 50% or more of the market. Like, is that not lining up for you? Like, as somebody who you got kids, they have events, they have this and that, so you don't get to tune in live on Raw like maybe I do whenever I get off work and I don't have my kids or my exes or watch them or whatever, and so you have the ability to literally any given time just stream it and watch it. Like, is this not appealing for that demographic more than what it would have been 30 years ago?
Absolutely, because even though I watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all like everything, I watch everything religiously. I have alarms on my phone to remind me of when they come 5 minutes before they come on. But I have 3 kids.
Right.
And a lot of the times I miss at least 50% of the show. At least 50% of the show, every show. So with it being able to be streamed, especially like SmackDown and NXT, not as much unless I am streaming through my VPN. But Netflix, at least, I can go straight back as soon as it's over and go right back into it and replay what I missed.
Yeah.
And then I can play it anytime. Like the next day while my kids are at school, I can watch it. It does make it so much easier. So I kind of agree on that front, like that AEW would have. Maybe I'm not a massive fan of it. I still think that they need to fix their storylines. I can't seem to get into it the way that I would really like to, honestly. There's a lot of people there that I like, but I do think that a streaming service could help them, or like weekly streaming like Raw does.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious to get your perspective.
I think the streaming service has to be willing to promote them too.
That's
true. What I'm saying, to get the name out there. Like I love the fact that NWA is on Roku, but I don't see a whole lot of Roku ads featuring the NWA. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's also, do we want you on here to promote you, or do we want you on here just to put you on the books as, hey, we got a wrestling show on our channel, so come check it out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Roku's a free app, so I would just assume they would have to pay for it to do that. So
I'm sure Roku's making money through tons of ads and everything. I don't think. Yeah, they're buying their content just like everybody else. It's just they're getting paid through ads now. They're not getting paid through subscriptions and ads like Netflix does and all that crap. So next story I got is J.D. McDonough is hurt again. He had to have surgery on his hand, I believe it was.
Dude, I got mad respect for that man. I used to absolutely despise him when he first started in Judgment Day. I'm like, dude, who is this motherfucker? Like, who is he?
What was it?
But there's been some times like, yes. There's some times that he has literally been injured and just still went through with the whole match and still gave it his all. So I got mad respect for JD. I'm just gonna say.
When he broke his rib and punctured his lung in that match and still got up and went in the ring, and I don't remember what move it was he took after that, but he took another devastating move that hit you in the midsection and had to be planted on his back. I don't care who you are, man. If you're doing that with a punctured lung and a broken rib, you've got my respect from that day forward. I ain't doing it. I'd have rolled right out of the ring and said, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeet.
Still one of the worst hits I've ever seen. Man. It was bad.
I choked myself up on that. But yeah, that man's a beast. We'll give it to him. All right, let's see what else I've got. So y'all know that this is happening, right?
I
What?
saw something about this. What exactly
Oh,
is it?
yeah. Okay.
Brock Lesnar sets the end of his WWE career SummerSlam of 2026 Minneapolis.
Womp womp.
Reports WWE has planned Brock Lesnar's retirement run starting on February of next year. Brock Lesnar has picked SummerSlam 2026 to make his last ever pro wrestling appearance. SummerSlam 2026 will be a 2-day event scheduled across 1 and 2 at US Bank Stadium. It will be the first ever WWE Stadium event held in Minneapolis, Brock Lesnar's hometown. Brock considers himself a half-retired wrestler and has expressed his will to retire multiple times. The golden era of WWE will truly come to an end next year. Now, I don't agree with that last statement, but I will say that with Brock retiring, Cena retiring, it's probably not going to be too much longer for Randy. Probably not going to be too much longer for CM Punk, and those guys that came from that era. Batista's already gone. And a lot of guys from that, after Attitude Era is what I call it.
Ruthless
all
aggression.
those, the Ruthless Aggression, young guys that came up that are now in their 20, 25-year, runs. It's definitely, it brings you back to, wow, man, I've sat and watched another whole era, get old and retire. And, thank God that they were able to make more money than the old guys and didn't have to stick around till they were 60 and 70 years old. But it's kind of bittersweet, I mean, I can't say that there's anybody from this Ruthless Aggression era that, takes, or I would put on my Mount Rushmore personally, but
Cena.
There's still a lot of great people. I don't know if I've seen. I can't stand Cena. I respect Cena, but I can't stand Cena. But it is wow, there is a lot of talent that's getting ready to hang it up, and I wonder if we're not respecting it, as much as we should, and appreciating the fact that we're getting to see these last few. And I don't want tours, but just these last few
I don't need to see
years.
any of it.
Well, but they're still relevant,
No, they're not. Not if they've been gone for quite some time and then decide to come back just because
I'm
they
not
need a
talking
match.
about those guys. I'm talking about people like Randy Orton. I'm talking about people like CM Punk that haven't been out of the business. You're talking about legends that are coming back. I'm talking about people who those guys, Brock, who are getting ready to retire.
Yeah, but Brock's been gone for the last little bit. He only came back to fight Cena one time and the whatever match, the Survivor Series. That was it.
But we all know what Brock's been about for the past 10 years. You know what I mean? I mean, he's been
business for himself.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So what is a retire match going to be any different?
Because it's still making money. And it's still
Who's
making more money.
Who's it really for? Is it for the fans? Is it for Brock? Is it for the company to make more money?
It's for Brock, and unfortunately, I will
John.
never understand why Brock Lesnar was ever as over as he was.
Brock Lesnar was probably one of the best wrestlers
such a fan
ever.
favorite. Do what?
Brock Lesnar, before he became this Brock Lesnar, this just come in, suplex you 15 times, F5 you, and done. The original Brock Lesnar that came out of OVW and was his first run in the WWE was one of the best wrestlers of all time. If he would have stuck with it, not quit, and went to try to play football, I guarantee you he'd be getting talked about in the top 10 because he could do everything.
I'm
he
sure
could power
I've said
you. He could come off the top. I mean, he had athleticism that a lot of
Couldn't
people
talk till
think of.
just a couple of years ago.
He didn't have to.
I'm sure
But
if I've not said it on one of the podcasts, I think this is on my second podcast, but I've been on like the TikTok live, so I'm sure you all have heard me say this before because I've said it for years. Brock Lesnar is Bill Goldberg with a little bit of talent.
no,
That is my like he's
Yeah,
all like
absolutely,
he is way
100%.
more talented than Goldberg ever. He's got more talent in his pinky finger than Bill Goldberg has in his whole body. But if Bill Goldberg was as talented as Brock Lesnar, they would be mirror images of each other, and I would
if
have never got behind either of them. I never
I'm
got.
going to
I
play,
don't like Brock. I don't like Bill.
I'm going to take devil's advocate on this one, and I'm going to say that had Brock Lesnar taken professional wrestling more serious, Brock Lesnar was a Bill Goldberg with Kurt Angle talent.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to. Yeah,
Oh shit.
that's pretty much what I'm saying. Yeah.
And Kurt Angle's got to be top 5 all time in ring performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much my point. But like, he's still the best thing that ever happened to Brock Lesnar was them say, "Oh, hey, let's get Paul Heyman to do his talking for
Well,
him."
yeah, but that
Oh
but
yeah,
he
I
found his
definitely
stick.
agree.
I mean, I agree with the whole he couldn't talk, but that he found his shtick. He didn't have to talk. He just had to go out there.
Yeah, but if you're gonna be great, then you should be able to talk.
How many greats couldn't talk? Andre couldn't talk.
Andre's a little bit
Andre
of a different
was an
story.
innovator, though. Andre was the first giant.
And Brock Lesnar was the first guy we seen that could move like that, plus pick up 2 or 3 people and sling them across the ring. He could move like Kurt Angle, but he also had the power of a Bill Goldberg or something like, somebody huge like that.
Yeah,
that had
that's
never
fair.
been seen before.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I know he's a talented person. I'm not questioning his talent, but just as overall, I don't think he'd make my top 50. I think I could not hear the name Brock Lesnar for the rest of my life, and I would forget the man existed. I cannot tell you one thing he did for the business.
I mean, I definitely agree. He didn't, like I said, if he would have taken the business more serious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was about Brock Lesnar the whole time.
Well, see, like he never liked being like he didn't like wrestling like like most wrestlers like wrestling. Like he didn't like being in front of people. Like he didn't like all the travel. He didn't like making, like personal appearances and stuff. Like that's why the UFC suited him so much, because it was more like his old ways. There was train, you fight one time, or you fight maybe 4 times a year. You have to go out in public, do a little media here and there, but it was just more training. Brock is just not a people person. Like he doesn't like people.
Yeah.
That's why he lives where he lives. That's why he's out in bumfuck Egypt and somewhere, because that's how he is. And like he got over in wrestling so much was because of the UFC, because he had that credential, kind of like Ken Shamrock. He's a bad man. He beats people up in real life. And so when you take that and you put that with wrestling, which is, people beating other people up pretty much and shit. That's why it was so easy for people to get behind Brock Lesnar, because he used to do it in real life. That's why, like, I think people kind of gravitated to, and he was a gifted athlete. I mean, like I said, like he was just a bigger Kurt Angle and shit. Like, he couldn't talk like Kurt and shit. Like he didn't have the mic skills, but as far as the physical gifts, they were on par as far as, because they had hella matches and shit. I mean, like some of Brock's best matches were with Kurt Angle and shit.
Hey, Josh, don't forget, man, Kurt Angle makes them all tap out.
And that, like, one of my favorite, just a sexy Kurt.
But I mean,
but you're talking about somebody who is basically, you're saying he's good at arguably 50%, if not a third of the business. Because what you can do in the ring is only a part of it.
That is true. That is true.
Like I would argue the best thing about Brock Lesnar is the first 10 to 20 bars of his entrance music.
Damn,
that's when the biggest reaction happens. That music hits, everybody knows it, and then he's gonna go in there, he's gonna dominate. Like you said, he's gonna get 15 F5s.
What happens?
And that's it.
When that music hits.
Do what?
Pops. LOD pop. When that music hits.
Pop, yeah.
So, I mean, and that's why it works. You know, for the same reason Hogan worked. You know, Hogan wasn't a great wrestler, but he knew how to work out. He knew how to, you know, come out of that tunnel, spinning around, chewing on his own headband, pointing at the fans, and just looking like he's getting ready to go wild.
That's actually a great comparison. Like if you put Hulk Hogan with the fans and on the mic with Brock Lesnar in the ring, you might have the greatest of all time.
Hogan's going to chew him up as far as mic skills. But the second you put him in the ring, Hogan's going to tap out in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But see, Hogan really could wrestle though. Like he just didn't, because like if
Right.
you look like back in the past when he was in Japan, like he could wrestle technical, but that's not what people wanted to see. Like over in America, they wanted to see the body slam, the leg drops and shit. So that's why he quit doing all that shit.
That
So
match
like
between him and Muda was great.
yeah. So like he had it in him, but he realized that that's not what his character was supposed to be. He wasn't supposed to be technical. You know, he was supposed to, you know, rip my t-shirt off, get hit a couple times, Hulk up, body slam, leg drop. It's a wrap type deal.
Yep.
I mean, you got to know who you are and shit, you know.
And that's it. That's why I think Goldberg, had he taken it serious, like I think we talk about him a little bit more. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is about the Randy Orton missing the he just released a statement about why he wasn't at John Cena's retirement. He just said because he was over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, promoting, I think, Royal Rumble, and that it was just a scheduling conflict. It wasn't anything, you know, everybody was like,
Do you think they had beef or something?
No, I think they were questioning, like, did he snub him or something like that? And he was like, no, we talked that morning. You know, I told him congratulations on a great career. You know, sorry I couldn't be there, stuff and everything. So, I mean, that I'm glad he squashed it, that, you know, nothing was really going on with it. Here's what I went and started digging, because this LA Knight stuff has got me like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2024, LA Knight signed a multi-year extension, but then, you know, then this release stuff shows up. So who knows? My theory could be wrong. But at first, when I found, you know, I thought, okay, well, he's going to be gone in March. So, you know, boom, you know, they're just writing him off. But I don't think they were writing him off at first. Now, who knows with these releases, it could be the reason they wrote him off. But if they don't end up releasing him, I think they took him off TV to change the character. Not change the character, not as over as LA Knight, but get him off TV, get him out of everybody's eyes, let him come back as a bad guy. The LA Knight that, you know, he should be, because that's where he made all his success, is being, you know, LA Knight, the bad guy, not LA Knight, the fan favorite.
Yeah, but he's already over, like, as a baby face. Like, that's just a waste of time. Like, I mean, that means all the time that you done put in to make him a baby face, and the fans are screaming for him, which all the fans are screaming for him, give him a shot and shit.
But look at how many baby faces they've got. They've got to turn somebody.
Yeah, but he's not the one. Hell, I mean, you got plenty of the Usos you could turn. I mean, there's lots of people who could turn.
I see him and Randy Orton turning. Same.
You know, Cody Rhodes and shit, something like that.
I pray for the Cody Rhodes turn, but I think him up too much as the baby face, white meat face of the company, so they're just going to ride that.
Like Jey Uso?
Well, yeah, they tried. I mean, with Jey Uso, but, you know, mid-card Jey Uso.
Not really.
Well, yeah, they kind of buried. Yeah, that's. But I don't think it caught on the way that they thought it was going to either. I mean, I think it caught on with the younger audience with the Heat stuff and everything, but I don't see eating all the time or anything. Tucker had some. Are you back with us, Tucker? Are you back with us?
Yeah, my phone died on me. Wasn't expecting that.
Oh, that's all right. It happens. We've run it close for Uncle Slam a few times.
Yeah.
So this was a list that I believe Sports Illustrated also released of the 20 greatest superstars of all time. And I'm guessing it's, I don't know if it's, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it's probably just WWE. But they got The Undertaker at 1, Stone Cold at 2, Hulk Hogan at 3, John Cena at 4, The Rock at 5, Ric Flair at 6, Shawn Michaels at 7, Triple H at 8, which I don't agree with at all, Roman Reigns at 9, which I don't agree with at all, Bret Hart at 10, which I don't agree with at all, Randy Orton at 11, Edge at 12, Brock Lesnar at 13, Kurt Angle at 14, which I don't agree with, Chris Jericho at 15, 16 CM Punk, Becky Lynch at 17, which I don't know. I mean, there's other women who are way better wrestlers than Becky Lynch, so I don't
I think there should have been a separate list for the women and the men, honestly.
I do too. But Macho
Yeah, I think
Man
there's
at
women
8,
on there that should be higher than some of the men that are on there.
right. Macho Man Randy Savage at 18, AJ Styles at 19, and Mick Foley at 20. What do y'all think about this list? I'll leave it up there for a second, let y'all look at it.
Who wants to go first on the list? I can
Vipers.
tackle it.
Well, here, let's
Vipers.
let Vipers go first. Ladies first.
Well, not really half of them, but like a lot of them, I don't agree with. Undertaker, Stone
I
Cold,
understand his. I don't agree with it, but I
Triple
I was
understand.
going to
H,
say Undertaker or understand is not the same thing as agreeing.
I do not agree with the Brock Lesnar. Do not agree with Kurt Angle. Do not agree with Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Becky Lynch. Mick Foley should be higher up on that list.
Just for his contributions alone, I wouldn't put him as a ring technician, but just the things he did. Top 15 at least.
Absolutely, but like
AJ Styles. AJ Styles.
AJ Styles higher up too, yes. I think.
Hulk Hogan's on this list and Dusty Rhodes isn't.
Yeah, I don't agree with the Hulk Hogan. I just don't agree with over half of it, really.
I see why the top 4 or 5. I understand it. It's because of their contributions to the money-making machine, WWE.
Yeah, like I don't have an issue with the top 4. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Cena. That's probably why I wouldn't put him as high, but I could see why a lot of other people would. I don't have an issue with The Rock, Ric Flair, top 10, Shawn Michaels. Like some people, like I can see why, like they wouldn't be my personal choice, but I see why other people would put them there. Like I see why. Let's see, who's somebody that I don't think really deserves to be. Like Roman Reigns. Like I don't think he's that great, but because he had it for so long of a period and the whole bloodline storyline, like I see why they put him higher up than probably he should be. Because like he doesn't be like he's not a top 10. I'm sorry, like we got people on this list like
we
that.
move on. I've got a question for everybody too about this list, so go ahead.
I would definitely put Mick Foley up higher. I might put Macho a little farther down just because as much as I like him personally, he doesn't have as much hardware as some of these other people, and I don't think his impact was as big. I would probably also put Jericho a little farther down. I would maybe put Punk down a little bit more and shit. Edge also. Might move Randy up a little bit. But, I mean, that's just me.
Uncle Slam, and I'll go back to you, Vipers, before we get Tucker's take on this. So, Uncle Slam, if you could take 2 people out of the top 10 and replace them with 2 people in the top 20, the 11 through 20, who would the 2 people be?
Take 2 out and then put 2 from the other?
Yes, and everybody else has to stay the same.
Okay, let's see. Well, Roman's coming out from the. I mean, that's the easiest one right
there. So who are you going to shove into number 9 slot?
Well, hold on. I would take Roman and I would take Cena out. If I'm going to replace them, I would put Kurt Angle in higher
for
up.
who?
Cena.
Okay.
I put him for Cena, and then for Roman, I could do a Mick Foley, maybe.
Really? Mick in the top 10?
If we're counting, like, are we just doing wrestling in total, or are we doing just WWE?
Well, just this list, because this is obviously all
Okay,
WWE.
just WWE. Hey, CM Punk. In my opinion, yes. In just my opinion, like I said, as this being my own opinion, yes, I
For
would put
this
him
list and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Viper, same question to you. 2 from the top 10 to replace with 2 from 11 through 20 in that slot.
Honestly, I'd take away the same ones, John and Roman. However, with the 2 that I put back in are not necessarily in that order. Does that make sense?
Right. Well,
I
okay.
put
So
them
who
in the
would you?
top 10, but not necessarily at 4 and 9.
Okay, but for this list, so you got to take John Cena out. Who would you slide into his spot just for this?
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley, okay. And you said Roman Reigns for the second.
Yep.
Who would you slide into the number 9 spot from 11 through
Randy
20?
Orton.
Okay,
I knew
I
you
could
were gonna say
I could
that.
see those two. Those are 2 legit,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong
choices.
with that.
Yeah. Tucker.
All right, mine's gonna be a little controversial, but I'm playing devil's advocate here because I'm trying to view this list as they did it. So obviously, they're not just going with performance; they're going with draw. They're going for superstars, notoriety. It seems like. So I would take out Undertaker and Hogan, and I would replace it with Edge and Orton. Leaving Cena there, because in my mind, Cena would not be at number 4 if it wasn't for the business he did with Edge and Orton.
Well, that is controversial. That's
That
big.
is controversial
You
because
said take out Hogan and Undertaker.
I would take out Hogan and Undertaker.
So who's?
I agree
so
with the
who's-
Hogan part.
Who's number 3 for Hogan?
So I would put Cena at 1 and Taker spot.
No.
I
You
would
can't
put-
change. You can't change anybody else. You just have to replace these 2. So you got.
Then
so
I would.
for
Yeah, I'd have to put.
Edge or Orton.
Honestly,
in
I'd probably
Hogan's
have to
spot.
put Edge at 1 then, and Orton at 11 because I think Edge and Cena's rivalry is one of the greatest of all time.
Well, Orton's at 11.
I'm sorry, I would
Orton
take
at
out. I'd put
Cena
Edge
and
at
Orton
1
was 2.
and Orton at 3.
So you think Edge is like the biggest draw with not moving anything else because of the Edge Cena?
Edge Cena, yeah, I think Edge Cena and that whole storyline was. I think that was Cena's peak. I think that was the greatest we ever got of Cena, with him drawing, with him making money, with his greatest matches, and he wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for Edge. So, like, ideally, to make it more efficient, I would switch Edge and Cena. I'd put Edge at 3, Cena at 1, and Randy Orton at 4.
Right.
Because I think for the people that have done for the business, Cena's at number 1. Based on this, because I don't think, obviously, if I was going to be playing the real me, Shawn Michaels would be a number 1.
Right.
But based on it seems like the criteria that they're doing,
right, draw
Edge and Orton
stuff
have to
like
be at
that.
number 1. Yeah.
So if I'm going to do this is tough because there's 3 guys from 11 through 20 that I could put into the top 10. But if I'm going to take 2 people out of that top 10, I'm quickly taking Triple H and Roman Reigns out.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
And number 8's definitely going to be replaced with Kurt Angle.
That's fair.
Now, number 9.
He would completely be out of my list.
Number 9 is going to that's where I'm having a hard time because it's either Macho or AJ Styles. Macho, oh yeah, dig it. But if I had to go hardcore and just go, I'd have to put AJ. Because AJ is probably top 10 in-ring performer of all time. I'm not going to say he's like the biggest star like a Hogan or anything like that, But as far as the ability he had in that ring, he could go with anybody.
Right.
And he still can. He understands, like Bobby Blade said, I understand it's time to hang them up.
Mhm.
I thought that was a pretty interesting little list. Let's see here. Let's load up here. Did anybody see this at John Cena's final match? The bottom picture is the more important picture.
Yeah, it's John Moxley, but
Who is it?
Dean
Bottom picture?
Ambrose, John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, whatever you want to
Oh.
call him. But he was backstage. Do y'all think that means Mox is coming back to WWE? And if he comes back to WWE, are they going to allow him to be John Moxley and not? I mean, of course, I don't want to see the John Moxley with spaghetti sticking out of his head in AEW.
no, they won't get to use the name.
Right. Well, I don't know because he owns the name John Moxley.
Oh well, if he owns the name, then that's
Right. And I'm wondering if
that.
right. I'm just wondering if they're going to make him come back and use the Dean Ambrose name. And I hope that they don't, because I think he's better as Moxley. I just think with AEW, they let him take things too far. But I
Too
think
much blood and guts.
yes, I think if WWE could get a hold of him and say, okay, Vince isn't here, so we're going to loosen the reins a little bit because you are legit. You know what I'm saying? But you can't walk around with spaghetti sticking out of your head. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody just stabbed you in the head with a big, handful of spaghetti. I don't think they can do that. But I think that under the right, cooperation between the character and the company, I think Dean could be a good guy to come back. Maybe even not a good guy. Maybe he's a good, little bit older bad guy that you can run for a few years and be a good, counterpart to Cody and CM Punk. And, because I got news for you. I already see the writing on the wall. By a little bit after WrestleMania, Braun Breaker is going to be a babyface. He's getting over way too much. Even though people are booing him, he's getting over because people want to see the Vision coming out there beat people up. We don't want to see it because it's the same thing every week, and we understand that. But these younger kids and everything, they're getting into this rivalry between CM Punk and Braun Breaker, and I think this is going to be CM Punk kind of handing the torch over to him and saying, if you. I something in me, because I think the WWE is going to push him as like the next kind of Roman Reigns, whether we want Braun Breaker or not. Braun Breaker's coming.
Has he ever been a baby face? Like, I don't
I
think he's
want
ever
him
been
to.
a baby face.
He was
He was
babyface
yeah,
in NXT.
NXT. Yeah.
Oh, he was in NXT?
Yeah.
But he was still a big brute MFer,
Right.
like
Right.
he
He was
wasn't
beating
like
the shit out of people.
he was.
Wow.
Yeah, he was still wrecking house every week. But it's just different now. But I like it. I like the Steiner math. I think that the little bits that he says in the ring are hilarious. I think it's great, actually.
I think these
I think he's gonna
promos
be
between
something
him and CM Punk are some good stuff that people, we need, like I was talking to both of you all, I think, individual parts. We need these kind of old school type, feels a little personal promos to come back.
Oh, that's just definitely
Yeah, but
personal.
every single week, because that's how some of them are talking every single week, and I'm kind of getting tired of it.
But if it's relevant to what they're fighting about, you know what I'm saying?
Not if you
gotta
say the
use what-
exact same thing every single week.
Well, I mean, yeah, if they're repetitively doing the same promo, then they've got to
They
come
really
up
are.
with new material. But you got to be able, if they're just using that as reference points here and there of why I'm ready to beat you up or whatever, then I get it. You kind of, like we was talking about earlier with Bobby, you use things from your personal life, So Jesse Ventura, he returned to WWE Saturday Night's Main Event. I don't think they put him in the commentator booth. I didn't hear him. but they had him on like the panel up there. But he revealed his Mount Rushmore of WWE wrestlers, which was Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and John Cena. And honestly, I can't argue with that. You know, the only other person I could say that you could argue as far as WWE is The Undertaker, just because he was, you know, Undertaker was to WWE what Sting was to WCW. He was their franchise.
Yeah, he was a constant. He was one you could always depend on.
Yes.
He
was the rebound.
It was I always said it like this, you know, Hogan was the kind of like the guy that got it started, and then the Undertaker was the guy who came and became that constant in the locker room and kept it to where this company can succeed, because Vince ain't got to deal with all that horse shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's got a couple of guys like Mark Calloway and, you know, other guys that are just old veterans and, you know, guys that ain't going to yeah, we're gonna do this shit. We're gonna do it the right way, and everybody's gonna eat. You know.
I mean, we could just call it like it is. Undertaker in the beginning was just a more interesting Andre the Giant.
He was
a big guy with an interesting character, and that's how Vince used him. All of his early matches, you know, like he even said it himself. You know, you look at those first, you know, like 7 WrestleMania wins, and they're kind of garbage matches. He was marketed as the big guy, and then once he started working with Mick and Shawn and Triple H, you know, people realized, oh, this guy actually has talent. We don't have to just no-sell him. You don't have to just stand in there and no-sell and be over, and the characters still work.
But that's the thing with The Undertaker is Andre in his heyday was way more agile than what he is, what he was, of course, at the end. I mean, he could barely walk at the end. And there's a funny anecdote. Did you know that Andre the Giant was supposed to win the 1991 Royal Rumble as like a last homage to him, because he was the king of the Battle Royal. And because of the fact that he was going to enter number 1, and they was like, there's no way. You know, there's no way he's going to be able to even stand that long. And so Vince was like, let's bring him in 30. And they were like, you're not understanding. The walk to the ring is going to kill him. And so because of the fact that Andre, even though he was promoted to be in the match, he wasn't in the match, and Hulk Hogan ended up winning the 91 Royal Rumble. Sorry, side note there. But what I was saying about The Undertaker is The Undertaker, even comparable to Andre's younger years, The Undertaker was so much more agile.
Oh, absolutely.
And so much more. Well, not even that. It's just because, I mean, look at not Kane. Big Show was a basketball player, you know. But to his defense, man, Big Show, a.k.a. the Giant, I've watched the Giant do kip-ups.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And if you're not impressed by a 7-foot man that's 400 pounds doing a kip-up like Shawn Michaels does, then you obviously don't understand athleticism at all.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I just think that The Undertaker overall was just that. I think when people think of WWF or WWE, they think Hulk Hogan first. But I would argue that you should be thinking Undertaker just as much as Hogan. You know,
I think it depends on age. I think it's kind of like one of those LeBron, Michael things. Like if you're born after a certain time, you're going to say Hogan, or you might say Stone Cold compared to saying Andre or somebody else and shit. You know, it's just, you know, because when I think of wrestling, you know, first thing I go to is Hogan, and I grew up with Andre and stuff too, also, but Hogan was just larger than life, you know what I'm saying? Like he took Andre's spot as being, you know, larger than life.
Yes.
Andre was kind of like our parents' Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Only in the, back in the territory days, yada, yada. But, and then the kids, us, seen Hulk Hogan, and it was like, oh, wow, Hulk Hogan, and then like our kids, our older kids and stuff, seen like, Stone Cold and The Rock and, all those, and, blah, blah, blah. We were a little older when we seen that too and everything, but we still loved it. And then, it just carries on to the Cenas and everything, it's just, I just think and I agree with what you're saying. It's like, you automatically think of Andre Hogan, Stone Cold Rock, the guys that kind of were handed the business off to, now it's Cody. And it's like, but I see what you're saying, Tucker. The Undertaker had that Andre aura, and that Rowdy Piper aura of, I don't have to have a championship to be relevant.
Yeah.
When I walk into a room, I'm relevant enough, whether I say a word or not. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Undertaker to me is like McDonald's filet of fish. Everyone knows that it's there and it's on the menu, and a lot of people are going to choose it when they pull up. And it's been there for years. But, and it's even been like number one a lot. And it's a lot of people's favorite. But it's still as over as everybody loved it. Everybody who loved Stone Cold, everybody who loved The Rock, they also loved Taker. But he just never, and he was consistent, and that was great. But it was more of like you said, Uncle Slam, he was the constant. He was the one that was always going to be there. If they were between champions, you could put the strap on him, and he was over. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. But did he ever really reach Rock or Stone Cold level? I'd argue that he couldn't as the dead man. Because, that's why he went over to the American Badass, because during the Attitude Era, he needed to be able to branch away from that a little bit. But,
right.
One of his biggest claims, one thing that so many people remember him for is being part of the Brothers of Destruction. And who remembers The Rock's famous tag team? Who remembers Stone Cold's famous tag team? A huge chunk of Taker's,
Yep.
Rock and
Sock, yeah.
But as one of the biggest parts of his career was as Kane's brother, and again, he's one of my favorites of all time. I think he's definitely in the top 10. But if we're talking about money drawers and promoters, you never, he wasn't the one that you in 97, 98, 99, you didn't go out and see Undertaker t-shirts. You saw Austin 316 t-shirts. You saw Just Bring It t-shirts. You saw D-Generation X t-shirts.
Right.
And so, yeah, he's the Filet-O-Fish. Great choice, but was never the Big Mac.
So after talking to Bobby Blade this morning, I look at this picture a little different. And I think you understand what I mean, Uncle Slam.
Yeah.
He smiled because he gave everything. Now, do you get why? Like and yes, me and Bobby kind of explained it different, but the same. Do you know why he smiled, Tucker, and just barely tapped on his arm?
I know what he kind of told Cody in his interview with him.
As in the whole, like,
riding off into the sunset, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like in the old, the way I explained it, when we were talking to Bobby, was, you got that bad guy or whatever that kind of redeems himself, and he went bad for a little while, redeemed himself, and at the end, that bad guy that redeemed himself ends up in the movie sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For the greater good of everything else. So it was him kind of giving that wink, that nod of, hey, I'm sacrificing for you. So, y'all take it and do what you can do with it. And it was like, you know, that's what the smile was about. That's, you know, and I respected a lot more than what I did. I didn't like it until I heard Bobby put it into, you know, just the context he did, because, you know, especially with him being in the business for 30 plus years, you know, I'd say he knows a little bit about what he's talking about and what that meant, you know, more than we did. So it was cool to hear him do that tape.
I saw a comment, and I wish I had screenshotted it, in a clip of Cody and Cena's interview, where he basically, you know, was talking about how, you know, that was his characters, that was his death, that was him giving it all, you know, that was the end of it. You know, afterwards he took off his armbands and all that stuff. And somebody in the comments posted something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, this is great for Cena, who has, you know, told all these cancer patient kids to never give up and this and that, and, you know, and to keep fighting, and then he gives up in his last match." And this is dark and morbid as fuck, but it really brought it full circle to me. Somebody responded to that comment talking about how Cena's always preach never give up, and they said something along the lines of, "Yeah, but the kid that beats cancer is still going to die one day. Maybe it's at a ripe old age, but eventually we all hang it up." And they said it much more articulated than I did, but it was like so like in your face, like, yeah, man, this guy's been in the business for longer than the kids that look up to him have been alive. Some of them by like 15 years. Like, and his time had just come. He never, and the smile kind of brought that back around, that he didn't give up. He went out on his own terms.
That's it. Yep. So, final thought, Uncle Slam, on the John Cena retirement as a whole, not necessarily the match or the build up or anything, just John Cena himself, a little send off to John.
How I feel about John Cena?
Just John Cena in general.
As a whole? Okay.
As a whole, whether it's a thank you for what you did or, you know,
like I said, I'm going to start with the obvious, you know, because I've said it many times. I wasn't a fan of the tour or whatever. I think it kind of cheapened shit. I think it was basically a money grab. I think they were basically playing on our affections, being like, hey, you know, you better get this merchandise while you can, because, hey, it's not going to be around anymore, even though it is. They're still going to sell it. As a whole, I think John Cena did what most wrestlers should do and usually do. He left wrestling better than he found it. I think when he came in, you know what I'm saying, he was like anybody else. You know, he had paid his dues, try to, you know, work his way up. He got an opportunity and he was blessed and was able to take that opportunity and run with it. You know what I'm saying? So I can't hate on any of that. I have never been the biggest John Cena fan. I definitely respect everything he did. I definitely respect the hard work, and because I know what it does take, you know what I'm saying, as far as the hours, the travel, you know, the sacrifices that you got to make, you know, like being on the road and stuff. And I can't say that I would be that person, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just being 100% honest, you know, I can't say that I would do that shit. And he has. So I wish him luck, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, he's pretty much said he got some good wrestling money. He's got that ambassador contract. And he does pretty good on television and shit. So, you know, his movies ain't bad. You know, Peacemaker, I enjoyed it. Suicide Squad, he was funny. So I don't think he's got anything to worry about, you know what I'm saying? I wish him the best on his, you know, next part of his life. So cheers to him.
What if I asked this? Would it change anything of your opinion? Stone Cold, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, none of them were ever the face of a billion-dollar organization.
Who was
John Cena was really the first face.
Nah.
of the bill of once the WWE and Vince became a certified billionaire.
Billion. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure the like when he hit billionaire status, like The Rock or Stone Cold was in charge. Now, it might not have been Hogan because that was a little sooner,
It was
but
right whenever Stone Cold retired and right whenever The Rock left for Hollywood. It was in that same era. And then John Cena stepped
uh,
up and became
I
John
might have to
Cena.
look that up and see and shit fact check you on that shit because I'm not 100% sure on that. But
I mean, I'm not saying it was the same year, but it's like right there in that time frame. You know what I'm saying? Where he hit billionaire status and with the company, and then because that's right whenever they started trading, because that was about 3 or 4 years maybe into the
I
trading.
mean, because if you want to be honest, if it wasn't for the whole Attitude Era with Stone Cold and The Rock, they would have never been pushed to the billionaire status.
I agree,
I
but
I
I'm talking
think
about just
John just kind of
carrying.
I think John just kind of he kind of loosened the top. You know what I'm saying? You know how when you open a jar and shit, and you loosen it up before somebody comes and opens it all the way. I think
Like
that's what
whenever we
he.
give it to our wives and they actually
Yeah,
open
yeah.
it, we loosened it for them.
I think that's what happened with John Cena when it comes to his part. I think Stone Cold, The Rock, and all those people from the Attitude, from the Attitude area, kind of loosened it up, and then him and the rest of them kind of just benefited a lot. Like I'm not saying they didn't put in their work to help, but I think they had an easier time because of the way things were set up for them.
I can see that.
No.
Tucker, what do you think?
So I feel like I've got a really unique perspective on this because right at the time when Cena was the most over, the spinner belt was popular. He was just starting the Never Give Up. The PG era was starting.
Yeah.
2008, 9, 10. I
Mhm.
was 13, 14, 15. I can remember being like 15, 14, 15 years old, me and my best friend at a show. And when the night started, we were on the side, that was during the let's go Cena, Cena sucks. So
Right.
when the music hits, I remember us being the Cena sucks side of it. And then by the end of the match, because and these were house shows, he just put so much out and gave it all that at the end of it, we were cheering for John. And I remember him and I sneaking to the back parking lot where the tour buses were, just walking like we knew what we were doing, like we belonged there. And at this point, I'm 15, so I'm still 6'2", so nobody's really questioning us walking around in WWE merch. And us seeing John getting onto his tour bus and holler at him and him taking the time to wave and like hold up the belt and stuff and like holler at us and thank us for coming. And on our way home, my best friend looked over at me and he said, I thought we didn't like John Cena. And I said, I think we like him at the live shows, but that's it. And it just, the energy that he brought for the time, I think that, yeah, I'm with you. Like, if you want to compare a face of the company, the face of the company, whenever there's a little bit of discrepancy because Stone Cold was he was hotter than Rock at first, but then Rock kind of took that too and they both shared it. But there's not really a major time whenever with the Rock and Cena that they, or Rock and Stone Cold, that they weren't sharing the spotlight.
Right.
There was nobody that had what Cena had. Not Triple H, not Shawn Michaels, not The Undertaker. Nobody had the face of the company in the palm of their hand like John Cena did in that time.
And I
And
think
so,
he had it in the palm of their hand on both sides, like you said.
yeah,
And he acknowledged, well, you can cheer me or you can boo me, but
yeah,
I'm still going to give it all every night.
yeah. I
And that's what
remember,
he did.
yeah, I remember them doing like a fake retirement thing back in probably 09, 10, something like that. I don't remember who it was against, but he stood out there and gave like a fake retirement speech and was like, all right, guys, for one time's sake. And this is what he said. He said, from all the kids 12 and under and the women, let's hear a let's go Cena. And from all the males that are 13 and older in the pause, let's hear a Cena sucks. Just calling it like it is. Recognizing what the fan base was. And they started that chant, and he liked it. He leaned into it, and it was still I used to say all the time that as great as Cena's was, he can never be the greatest of all time because he never was a heel. I remember telling my oldest son this. I was like, he said, I think John Cena's the greatest of all time. I said, he can't be. Same as Ricky the Dragon Steamboat can never be the greatest of all time because he was never a heel. Cannot claim that without playing both sides of the card, but he damn near came close, and then we finally got the heel turn. But I think that do what?
And it was
The heel
terrible.
turn. Yeah.
And it was terrible. Yeah. I think that he was happy with it. I think he's got a really positive mindset, and of if I can't control it, if it's out of my control, then I'm not going to worry about it.
And I think that's the way he does. Listening to him on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if y'all have listened to that episode or not, but if you haven't, Uncle Slam, you should listen to it. It's him and Joe Rogan just sitting down, on Joe Rogan's show, man. But I get a lot of what Tucker's saying about John Cena's attitude of I control what I can control, and the rest of it is just, what happens is what happens.
Yes.
I can't control it, so why sit and worry about it?
Yeah. So would I change the opponent of his last match? Absolutely. Would I change the flow of the last match? Absolutely. I think he made the call on the submission. I think he was happy with it, so I'm happy with it.
I say that I wasn't at first, but again, after talking to Bobby this morning and seeing his perspective of, it was that, not necessarily riding off into the sunset like the ones that survive and get away, but he's the one that, had to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
To, let others eat, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what it was. And the thing that I do respect about him is that, I'm okay if he does an appearance. I don't want to see him coming back and wrestling.
No.
So if he sticks to his word, and I mean, he really emphasized it on that Joe Rogan podcast that this is it. He's done.
Yeah.
He is never getting back in that ring to wrestle again. He'll do appearances and stuff like that. If he sticks to that, then you kind of got to give him, I'm not going to say the nudge over anybody of being the greatest of all time, but you definitely got to put him in the conversation for that. Because of the respect factor. He knew he was done, so I'm just going to get my old self out of the way. I'm not going to sit here and keep taking the spotlight from people who need to shine. Yeah. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out on my terms. And when I do, that's it. I'm gone. Thank you for the memories, and I hope you got some memories too.
Yeah.
That's just my new perspective on it. And I really do. I hope he sticks to it and doesn't come back. And I don't mean that in any negative kind of tone or anything like that. Because it's just not needed. You know what I'm saying? If you want to come back as a manager of the new Thugonomics guy that's coming out in 10 years, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got some mic skills that you can definitely use and teach him how to do and blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to see the old guys coming back anymore. I love them, but I don't want to see them coming back, And I like the fact that, like I was saying earlier, that we're getting to kind of see this next generation, getting ready to fade out. The Punks, the Lesners, the Randy Ortons, what is it? Once Lesnar retires, I think the only two OVW standouts from that class that are left will be Randy Orton and Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
Because it was Cena, Lesnar, Orton, Shelton, and Batista.
Yeah.
And, those were the big standouts in OVW in that class and everything. Like, OVW was kicking back then when they had that. Because, like, people like Flair were going down there and working and, stuff like that. So it's like, it's kind of bittersweet to see them going away. But, when they go away, I want them to go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even Sting said that, like, I think this weekend's the last time you'll ever see him in full-blown Sting gear.
Yeah.
He said he's doing his last appearance, and that's
You'll never
it.
see the face paint again, he said.
Yep. He said, I may make an appearance as Steve Borden, but other than that, guys, I don't have any other stories. Y'all got anything else?
Yep.
Nope.
Guys, I hope and pray everybody has a safe, happy holidays. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that stuff. Stay warm. Hold your family close and enjoy them this holiday season. Make it the best Christmas ever. You never know. And just, have a good time. And once the new year starts, we will definitely be back with you all. We won't have any more shows. We got some old shows we've got to get on to Spotify and everything. But once we get that done, these will be our last 2 episodes of the year. So far, I think it's been a good pretty much half a year. What do you think, Uncle Slam?
I've enjoyed it, had fun. I've definitely learned some things or whatever. I just can't wait to learn a little bit more and, make some more friends and do a little more, some more talking.
Yes, sir. I mean, like I said earlier to Bobby, I'm further into the business than I ever thought I would be, even though I'm not even really in the business. I'm kind of like sitting like right above the dugout in the stands.
You're the kid who's getting what's his name's jersey tossed to him.
Right.
Oh.
That's it. Hey, that's all right. Hey, I'll take it. If that gets your foot in the door, get your foot in the door. I'll never forget that story that Bobby told us this morning about his first meeting with superstar Bill Dundee. He said, You're not trained by who? He's like, man, I should have just shut up and said, yeah, I was trained by Dale TNT Man. But he went on and said, yeah, I was trained by somebody else first. And when he mentioned the name, superstar Bill Dundee, I don't know if you know who that is, Tucker. He was a big Memphis wrestling superstar.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the name, yeah.
Okay. He, as soon as he heard the name that he was originally trained by, superstar Bill Dundee, he said he cussed me up one side and down the other and called me every name under the sun. He said he told me I had no business being in the business because of the fact that I even walked in and let that guy even talk to me and stuff. Like, I was like, wow. He said, but just to, he said, it's weird how the business works. He said, because years later, him and Bill Dundee had several matches and everything went on without a hitch.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, guys, I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. I mean, I'm sure I'll see you right after Christmas, Tucker. But
yeah, we'll have something.
Uncle Slam, if I don't see you or talk to you, man, I'll get together. Well, I'll try to get together with you soon, too, because I got a couple of weeks off and everything, and get you this wire and everything for your microphone. Y'all have a good Christmas. I hope the family has a good Christmas. Tell Kim and Tasha and everybody and everything I said Merry Christmas when y'all see them and everything. All the girls, Jen, tell her thank you for the orange cream fudge. And don't forget to mention the coffee fudge to her.
Oh, yeah,
man,
yeah, coffee fudge. Okay.
Coffee fudge, man. I don't know why. I just think that sounds so good. But yeah, y'all have a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas from everybody here at Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Come back and see us in the new year. Referee has hit that 3 count, and we are going to ring that damn bell for the last time this year.